Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Saratoga Racecourse here on Friday. It's the 21st of July 2023. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from the spot, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and join me tomorrow for my Haskell preview from Monmouth, and also join me for my coaching club preview here from the Saratoga. No full card selections for me today due to number one, it's gonna pour. I think they're expecting an inch of rain at Saratoga, so some of these races, these turf races, are going to get absolutely destroyed. I think even some of the main track races are going to get destroyed here. So I'm not going to look at that. And number two, I have a really bad ear infection right now that's giving me such a headache. So I'm lucky I got these two races done. We're going to look at the stakes races, races 4 and 9. Fourth race is the Curlin Stakes, very good race. And the ninth race is Lake George. I'm giving you two selections for that race, a turf selection and a dirt selection, but most likely I'm leaning towards that being off the turf run out of the Wilson Mile. But let's get to the fourth race from Saratoga, which is the Curlin Stakes, going for a $135,000 purse. Race for 3-year-olds here, which never won a graded sweepstakes at a mile or over in 2023. Field of 5 horses, taking a lap around the Saratoga main track, which is 1,800 meters in circumference, or a mile and an eighth on the main track. I love the 3-horse Blazing Sevens in the spot. 3, 4, 2, 1 for me in the superfecta. 3, 4, 2, 1 super. Top selection 3-horse Blazing Sevens. 3-year-old colt by Good Magic here. Chad Brown trains. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. Horse has been seen since the Preakness that came at Pimlico, mile 3/16 on the 20th of May, and he finished second by a head behind National Treasure that day, and he had a wide trip that day. He sat back early. He slowly moved his way up, and he fought a good race National Treasure late. He just missed, but he ran his heart out that day. Refreshing to Saratoga, hopefully staying a little closer if the track's sloppy. I think he get away and run a good race. Prior to that, he ran the Bluegrass at Keeneland, a mile and eighth on the 8th of April. And he finished third by 6 lengths that day, and he was just a little bit wide that day, and he just couldn't catch Tappet Trice and Verifying, who just had the jump on him. And then the Fountain of Youth, he had basically lost all chance beginning where he got shuffled out of it, and then with that quick run to the turn, it just wasn't his day to win off the bench. He ran the Brewers Cup Juvenile before that, where he finished fourth by 5.5 lengths, where again, he didn't have a clear beginning, and, he was just facing tougher horses at the time. He won over a stupidly sloppy track in the Champaign and Aqueduct, going a mile on the 1st of October last year, winning by 3.25 lengths, closing up from nowhere. I thought it was a very good run. And then he finished last year, third in last year's hopeful here on closing day on an absolutely sloppy going. He's training well. He could definitely win. I'll use him on the ticket. I think the 4-horse Scotland, first time stakes quality horse, wouldn't surprise me if he wins. He came back with a 94 buyer going a mile at Churchill in June, quite nicely, winning by a head. And then allowance race at Keeneland going 7. He finished second by nose, where he got caught at the wire, but he ran his heart out that day. Going around 2 turns wouldn't surprise me. If he finds the winner circle, I'll use him in the pick 4 that begins with this race. There's a pick 4 that begins that connects races 4 and 7, so use him there. But to recount my selection for the 4th from the spot, it is the Curlin. Gonna take the 3-horse Blazing Sevens. Give kudos to the 4-horse Scotland. 3, 4, 2, 1 super. 3, 4 in your multi race. To the featured 9th race from Saratoga, it is the Lake George Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a $175,000 purse. Race for 3-year-old fillies. We have a field of, let's see, a field of 10 horses entered to go 1,600 meters or a mile on the inner turf course. If this race is taken off the turf, it will be run at a mile over the Wilson Mile here at Saratoga on the main track. Like I said, I'm going to give you two selections, my turf selections and my dirt selections. My turf selections are going to be 1-5, 1-5 if this race is still going to be run on a turf course, and if this race is taken off the turf and run on the main track, I'm going to go 8-6. So my dirt selections are 8-6. We'll start off with my analysis of the turf horses. My top selection, the 1 horse there, Queen Picasso, 3-year-old filly by Kingman. Christophe Command trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. Most recently ran on the 7 furlong soaring softly at Belmont in mid-May, where the horse won by 2 lengths in dream trip. Stalked all the way around a racecourse, running quite quick, 108 and 4 3/4, and she quickened up nicely off of those fractions, and she went away with it. A very good run that day, cutting back and trip. Back around 2 turns today. If the turf course has some give, she's going to have to handle it, but I think she can go a long way and run a good race. When the turf courses are soft, that really plays towards front runners. Prior to that 5th of March at Goldstream, mile 16th in main special weight, she won by a half a length that day, and she basically stalked all the way on the race course. When she got to the front end, she quickened up nicely. Another very, very easy race for her that day in the debut. She's been training quite well in the inner turf course at Belmont, half mile drill in 49.3, the 6th best workout of 12, and a half mile 51 flat, the 12th best workout, 13. I think she's rearing to go. I'm going to expect her to run a good race here today. I'm going to use her on the ticket along with the 5 horse Revelita for Chad Brown and Tyler Gaffleone. Most recently in the Wonder again at Belmont over the mile and the 8th in the inner. She finished third by 1.5 lengths that day. Prerequisite, just really walked on the front end and got the job done. This horse moved a little bit late, but just couldn't catch the stablemate. Prior to the Edgewood at Churchill, going the mile 16th, he finished second by 3/4 of length that day. Was stupidly wide, was gaining that day, but it's hard to gain on that new turf course at Churchill. It's kind of spongy, they will say. And here comes the Bride. He finished fourth by 3/4 of length, and if the race was a mile 16th, would have probably won by open lengths. But what can you do? She ran her heart out that day. Another horse she's been proving a lot with every single race stateside. If there's a pace meltdown, I think she could get the job done. If 5-1, let's use her. Also, she's won over soft ground in France on the C tier race courses, but still she can handle soft ground. But to recap my selection, so that's my recap for my turf selections. I would go 1-5 there. My dirt selections now, I'm going to go 8-6. We'll talk about the 8 horse here. I'm trying my heart out, 30-1 on the morning line. But if this horse is going to run on the dirt, probably going to be your favorite, I think. Johnny Velasquez is on this one for Jose Camejo. Most recently at Belmont on the turf, mile 16th and option 6-2. The horse won by neck that day and basically walked in the front and he quickened up nicely. A very nice run for this horse that day and a quick turnaround. 2 weeks prior at Monmouth, the mile 16th and Lowndes race, 57,000. She finished fourth by 11 1/4 lengths that day and had a bit of a tough trip, but she ran her heart out that day. She's proven she can run good on dirt. She hasn't won on it, but if she runs a race like the 4th of March at Aqueduct in the main special where she finished fourth, she had a bit of a bumpy beginning that day. She ran decently in the final few strides of the race. Since they got her out of the gate clear, she's really become a better horse. If this race comes back to dirt, I expect her to be forwardly paced, and it wouldn't surprise me if she steals it. I'll use her on the ticket, along with the 6 horse Little Miss Moonlight. Hasn't been seen on the dirt since the debut in January at Gulfstream, at Tampa, going a mile 40, where she finished second by half length. She stalked that day. She just couldn't get there late, but she ran her heart out. Since then, she's been running exclusively on turf, where she won a main special weight 2 back at Indiana, going a mile 16th quite nicely. Finished third in the Simpson Oaks at Canterbury a few weeks ago. Another horse, if this race taken off the turf, I expect her to run here, and I think she could get the job done at 30-1. Again, you probably won't see it. You'll probably see like 2-1 at the most, but she could get the job done. I would use her in the pick 4. But to recap my selection now for the 9th from Saratoga, it's Lake George. Let's get this clearly now. For my turf selections first, we're going to take the 1 horse Queen Picasso as a top selection. We'll give kudos to the 5 horse Revelita. 1-5 Exacta here. Exacta box, whatever you want to play. 1-5 here for my turf selections. And now for my dirt selections as a top selection, I'll take the 8 horse Try My Heart Out. And I'll use the 6 horse Little Miss Moonlight. 8-6 for my dirt selections and use them both in the exact, like I said, exact combinations and also in the pick 4s. So with that being said, good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.